Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday. You didn't make it to Friday, and you got a lot of snow if you're in the state of Arkansas across the board. I know it's up here in Northwest Arkansas. I think Central Arkansas got hit the worst of it. But, fellas, we talked a little bit about snow yesterday, but we got snowed in. How we feeling? How's the cabin fever going this early in the day?
It's nice to just be able to look to my left out the window and see. It's like a winter wonderland out there. And there's nothing better than like untouched snow. You know what I mean? Like people have been walking around in it or, like driving around on it. It's just pristine, man. It looks good. And apologies for the delay starting the show today. That was my fault, I guess, but it was also Arkansas's fault for being 51 minutes late to start their preview press conference. So it wrapped up right as we were supposed to start, got this thing uploaded, and you can listen to what Chuck Martin has to say if you choose to.
I commend you for trying to take accountability for them being like an hour late to the press conference. But I like what you said about the snow. So I'm currently like the window that I'm looking out right now as I speak is like there's like a little common area here where no one walks. And so I didn't notice that until you said that, but it's like that's A1 snow right there. Yeah, it's cool to be snowed in. I wonder if a bunch of people are not at work today or like home from work today. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get a more lively chat than usual.
Yeah, I think we will. I think it'll end up happening because people are snowed in. They're looking for something to do, and what better thing to do while being snowed in than to hang out with us? Starting at noon, and we're going to have a fun time here on a wide open Friday. We'll call it that because there will be some discussions about Razorback basketball tomorrow, a little bit college football, great playoff game last night, which was pretty wild. And we'll talk about a little bit of it tonight. We'll get some other news here in the sports world. And of course, your phone calls and your chats. You see the phone lines are open. So if you want to call in 478-344-6623. Which, fun fact, somebody DM'd me last night and got mad at me because they were like, why did you have the area code 478 instead of 479? It's like, well, I didn't have a choice in the matter, my man. But thank you. I'll look into that. As soon as it opens up, though, I'll jump in. So
I have a question.
What's up?
Before we get started, did AJ Green just recommit to
The University of Arkansas? I think he
what? Okay, where are we seeing this?
Well, he just tweeted, and it's just like a picture of a hog and green. It's like the tape over his locker or something.
Dude, okay. Someone on the Discord like 2 or 3 days ago was like, hey, Arkansas is about to have a commitment from a former 4-star running back. And then someone was like, I think it's a former player. And I remember just being like, how funny would that be? And then I started thinking, is it Green or Augustov? And then I forgot about it. And then he freaking commits today.
Well, yeah, because he got hurt. Like, was it in spring or like early in fall camp? But he didn't play at all, right, at Oklahoma State. So he'd have that year. But maybe that just happened. I don't know. Like, we'll have to get more confirmation than his piece of tape on Twitter. But like, I don't know why else he would do that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I mean, it seems pretty solid to me.
Well, and also like it checks out in my brain too, where I'm like,
I immediately feel better about the running back room. This is true.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we thought that they probably they should go after a big fish, and they went after some guys like an Ismail Mahadi, like the ULM kid, and missed out on those and ended up bringing in the Washington kid from New Mexico State. We felt like they needed help, but we had kind of given up on the idea that they would get it. Obviously you would prefer to have like a guy who's a 1,000-yard rusher, ton of production coming back, but like AJ Green has been here. You kind of know what he's capable of. We'll see with the injury. Like you said, he didn't play this past year, so maybe he's still banged up. I don't know what that's going to be like. But that's intriguing.
It's stupid.
I see that. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I see Richard Davenport's run with the story here. So like he had a release ready. So there you go.
Okay, here's the thing. AJ Green, you're dead to me, dude. You couldn't have waited or done this like 5-10 minutes ago when I could have retitled the entire stream to talk about this. You had to do it now. Come on, man. Like, you should know better than
this. Shop and start a new one.
Yeah, just start it all over. Curtis, you couldn't have been 10 minutes later, all right? Like, you couldn't have done that. I mean, jeez. Okay, well.
To help us.
Yeah, man. Well, all right. Well, I guess, hey, let's dive into it because that's happening right now. And that's what's fun about these live streams and what's going on. So, okay. So assuming that this, and of course, Richard Davenport running with the story and everything. Yeah, I'm kind of cool with this, actually. I think it's a good thing. You needed some help in the running back room. I always liked AJ Green when he was at Arkansas. I understand that you had only a certain amount of things that you could do when you had Rocket Sanders back there and had some really high quality running backs. But I was a little bummed to see him go. But to get him back, okay, I think this is a good move. It's a good solid move by the Razorbacks.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like, I'm still trying to figure out how real this is. I don't know. It just kind of came out of nowhere there. But yeah, no, it's I don't know what the nature of his injury was though. At Oklahoma State and like you have to miss a year. You always wonder what it looks like on the comeback. His thing was, speed and everything else there. So like how healthy is he and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, he was productive. He always felt like the guy who was, coming in the year was like primed for the breakout. I mean, he would be the guy we would hear about the most. Like, no, he's ready to take that next step. And he never really did. Like, he was always solid, fine, but he was always the number 2 or number 3 back there. But I mean, my goodness, you need experience. Felt like they needed to add some bodies there. And well, there you go. So like Andrew, you might've mentioned it a while ago. I'm sorry. I was looking at, to try to see if this was a thing or not, but like they just offered I think it was a running back or maybe it was a tight end. I know they offered a tight end out of Montana, but it seems like they just got in on another running back. So it looks like they were still in the market a little bit. And I don't know, maybe this is a good move for them.
Here's why I like the move. Look, if we're viewing this through the lens of Arkansas needs a starting running back, a guy that's going to lead the backfield, then I would be concerned because I'm like, well, he's coming off injury. This seems like a no risk, no downside thing. Like maybe he can be healthy and give you something. And we've seen him in the past. I mean, he's been, like you said, he was a guy that was always kind of that second or third back for like 3 years. And so like he's got plenty of experience. He's been in the running back room a while. There's some familiarity there. Obviously, different running back coach, but like they know his skill set pretty well. At least Sam Pittman's been around him and some of the players. I think if you can get anything out of him, cool. I don't think this is a move that like they had to break the bank to make it happen. So it's not like they're counting on him to be a top guy or anything like that. If Braylon Russell takes a step forward and can build on a solid freshman season, you got some experience with the other kid as well. Like, it's not a great running back room, but I think when you need all the help you can get, why not bring him in?
Pause. I'm giving Richard a lot of credit here because I'm reading his story. So he is expected to be a walk-on. He is expected to play defensive back. So they didn't add to the running back room. He's moving to DB.
I beg your pardon?
Well, yes. You remember, dude, this was a thing that people talked about a lot.
Yep,
that they wanted it to happen. And I honestly never thought that would be a thing.
Absolutely was. So there you go. Maybe that's his pathway to the NFL, just switching sides of the ball and getting weird with it. I like it, bro.
Now, hold on. Did he play DB in high school, or at least that was a thing? I feel like
wasn't that why he didn't go to Oklahoma or something? Because they wanted him to be a DB, or like I'd have to really go back into the archives. But he was, he was a two-way guy.
This conversation definitely didn't just come out of nowhere. Like the idea of him playing defensive back has been kind of a thing. But like I said, I kind of gave up on that because I remember when Arkansas had that season where they had all those DBs hurt and they didn't move AJ Green over. I was like, okay, if he's not going to play defensive back this year, he's never playing defensive back. But hey, now I'm very intrigued.
Walk on DB AJ Green. There you go.
What's that quote where it's like, you had my interest, but now you've got my curiosity or something like that? Or maybe vice versa.
Yeah, it's like, you had my interest, but now you have my curiosity. That's what I feel like too, because you got not only him returning, but then completely going to the other side of the ball, which we've talked about it, guys, with our portal talk. We've thought that the defensive backs in the secondary has done a really good job in the transfer portal. And if you were going to tell me, hey, would you rather right now have another running back or another defensive back? I'll be honest, I would have said running back. I would have been like, yeah, to get him back as a running back. But like you said, Curtis, maybe this is the pathway. Maybe this was part of the negotiation saying, okay, you can come back, but you got to be a defensive back. Or AJ Green's like, hey, I want to come back, but I want to be a defensive back. That's going to be the fascinating thing was this a mutual thing? Was it something that Arkansas wanted from him? Was it what he wanted from Arkansas? Like, how does that make sense and what all transpired here?
Yeah, that's this is fascinating, man. So, I mean, 5'11", 205. It kind of sounds like a safety to me, but I mean, I would assume he'd be a corner. I don't know, man. This is cool. I'm really anxious to hear more about it.
Yeah.
And hopefully some from him. But how about that, man? Just pulling the Jimmy Witt, and just running it back at the original spot. So
I like this a lot. And maybe he's going to play the hog position, that nickel spot, and just be like a box safety. I really don't know. But like, it is interesting.
I'm excited about this more than any other potential walk-on addition they might be able to make.
Also, this is
the best walk-on Arkansas has had since Keon Minifield.
Hey, well, watch that, because I'm about to say Arkansas just had a former walk-on defensive back in the secondary there, leading things as a leader in Hudson Clark. Did they just need to replace the walk-on veteran leadership, and that's why they bring in AJ Green? I like it.
So.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
I'm excited for AJ Green because I don't care what anybody says. I'm putting him on him right now. He's on the Burlsworth Award watch list. Yeah, we're putting him on it right now. He's on the Brandon Burlsworth Award watch list to be the walk-on of the year.
But here's the question, John. Is he eligible for the Burlsworth? Because he did not begin his career as a walk-on, and that is the way the award works.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. Like, there's no rules when it comes to college football and what they do and don't do it anymore. But yeah, I think that is the rule, but still, yeah, that's craziness. And I always felt like with AJ Green too, when he was here, I was honestly surprised he didn't transfer out sooner than what he did, because he was here for 3 years at Arkansas, 21, 22, 23. And we know how the current climate is of college football. And if you're not playing, if you're not starting, then you'll just move somewhere else and go on with it. But, for him to come back, I always appreciated the way he handled things, I guess. And I guess under Sam Pittman's rules, he handled it the right way in the way he left, that he was, of course, able to come back. He just had to take a year sabbatical over in Stillwater. I'd want to leave after a year in Stillwater too. So good to see him back and adding it to the mix.
Man, just firing shots like that.
Yeah. Well, hey, after that regional that was there a few years ago, and then after this past year, I don't want to be in Stillwater anymore. It's not fun. It's too hot. But man,
there was nothing more deflating than us trying to start our live stream outside of Eskimo Joe's in Stillwater and just getting the Pistol Pete thing done to us a million times by Oklahoma State fans. That was brutal, man.
That was a bottom 5 moment of my existence, I would say, for sure. But I tell you, you know what else there is about AJ Green, and you got to remember, Sam Pittman really likes him. He always spoke very highly of him, and he would always do the track speed bit with AJ Green, where he'd be like, he ran that 10-2 in high school. I want to see that 10-2 out on the field. And he had a couple moments in the Liberty Bowl. He was a former Liberty Bowl standout. Him and R-Dub. That was probably like the coolest moment of his career. But so maybe that track speed will show up at corner, safety. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Find out.
Maybe he plays all the positions. Maybe that's just wherever he fits. They'll do some cross training.
He's going to go to Cross Train University. Yeah,
and just get the best 5 out there every single time. I think it's cool. And also, selfishly, this is just how my mind works sometimes. When it comes to spring football, people get interested in it a little bit. But the main thing that drives interest in spring football is always quarterback battles, which you don't have one of those, or new coaches, which you don't have those. So, what could it be? What could it end up being? I don't know. I think there'll be, not saying it's a huge deal, but there'll be some interest in people wanting to know, hey, how's AJ Green doing in the secondary? After being a guy who had, 600 yards rushing, I think it was his best year in 2021, something like that. But yeah. All right, cool. I wonder if he's going to wear 0 again.
That's a good question.
Because he was 0 last year on the defense.
Nico Davier was number 0.
It's open.
It's open, yeah. Exactly.
It's available. So, all right. Well, there you go. Cool. Some portal popping happening right there.
It's a way to start the show.
The walk-on aspect of this is also very much worth noting. Now, I was giving this bit thinking he was a running back, but the whole idea of it's not like it's costing you anything. It's not like this move where you're clearing a spot for a guy or you're dedicating a ton of NIL funds to a guy. You're bringing him in as a walk-on. If you can get anything out of him, cool. If not, it's not going to change the program. Kind of like he's the Monte Harrison of defense.
Yeah,
Yes.
man. I would just like to say, now that I have to retract what I was saying about the running back room, I still think they need another running back.
Yes.
100%.
Okay, and now we can move on.
Yep. And who knows? Maybe is Traylon Smith still around? Bring him back.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, Dom Johnson, did he sign anywhere yet?
Yeah, I think he's
Last I
available.
checked on Traylon Smith, he's active but not playing football.
Yeah, he's active. All right.
Same. I'm also active in not playing football. Yeah. Who's the name that you said in the beginning that was the freshman last year running back that transferred out? August. Yeah. Where did he? Yeah, Colorado. Okay. I didn't even see if he played this year or not. I completely forgot about him.
Pretty good amount, I would say. Like he was probably their number 2 back. I watched him a lot. Like he played.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and going back to because we had other things we'll talk about, but going back to the walk-on element, that's another thing I'm curious about. If that's a thing that like why? Because they have scholarships available. Last time I checked, so it makes me wonder. I don't know what's the story behind that. Because if you're AJ Green, wouldn't you? Of course, you'd rather be on scholarship. So were there no other schools that would have given you a scholarship, or do you just want to be a back at Arkansas that badly that you were willing to be a walk-on? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, it's that is kind of interesting. Maybe they're doing the Minifield thing where it's like we got enough NIL to pay your tuition or whatever. There has to be some kind of numbers crunch. Otherwise, there's no way they'd be doing this. It's either that or he's just really not healthy. And that's kind of the compromise there in terms of letting him figure that part of it out. Who knows?
I think when you combine health with the potential position change, because I'm sure maybe AJ made that decision of like, hey, I want to be a defensive back, but maybe there's not schools that are offering him a scholarship to do that, especially coming off of an injury, and especially a school in the SEC, by the way. That's another thing where, you can get a scholarship a lot of places potentially, but like, I'm sure, I think he probably wanted to go somewhere he's familiar with, somewhere that's a high level where it's like, hey, maybe I can make it happen at the SEC level playing defensive back. And Arkansas is probably the only school offering him that specific opportunity.
Yeah. And also his coach is not here anymore, as we know, the running backs coach that he had, Jimmy Smith. So now he's going to be moving over. And also that's another thing too, not the biggest deal, but that next coach that they're going to hire, is it going to be another cornerbacks coach after Darren Wilson left? Still haven't heard any movement on that. And I feel like that's something they want to get, going here pretty quickly. But maybe not. Maybe not. So
they got a guy back there, like with Woodson, they can manage until they find the right hire. Probably they definitely need him before spring ball though.
Mm-hmm. I'm serious. I want Hudson Clark to be the guy. They need to hire him.
Are we sure AJ Green's not the guy? Is that what's happening here? Has he been hired as a defensive backs coach and maybe just Richard missed the mark? No, you don't think that's what happened?
Yeah. And so that's why he's a walk-on, is because they're paying him a salary off the coaching staff.
This is like a game of telephone where it's like one person whispered it and now it's gotten all the way across to us and we're like, AJ Green, defensive backs coach.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows you, man. Sam Pittman's over here. Everybody's playing checkers. He's playing chess. He's ahead of the game there. All right, let's get to a few of your chats, folks, here for the show as we start off again, in case you're just joining us. Former Razorback running back AJ Green has reportedly rejoined the Razorbacks as a walk-on defensive back. Yeah, couldn't write that headline. But we'll talk about that as well as some other stuff going on with Arkansas in the Florida game and other things too. But also, Trey's in here saying AJ Green equals Travis Hunter 2.0. Yeah, sure.
It's trying to steal that from Maddox Lassiter. I mean, he's got competition on his own team for that.
Yeah, this Ironman football is coming back, boys. They're going to start. They're going to start limiting scholarships and start just having Ironman football across the board.
This is Shohei Ohtani and Travis Hunter's influence.
That's right. It's from me says John is not active like Smith.
It's mean.
Yeah, it is, but it's fine. Also, yeah, people are still just like kind of like, what in the world about AJ?
Yeah,
Green?
I mean, we were too right there. I can't wait to go back and watch this because we're just like, wait,
this is great television.
Is this real? Oh, I guess it is real. Oh, this is great for the running back. Wait, DB, we're all over the place. That's what happens when you do this in real time, people.
As someone who was living in that moment, Curtis, I think it was very similar to like an interaction we would have like an hour and 20 minutes into the show when we're kind of wrapping up and we're like kind of scanning to see if there's anything we need to mention. And it had that kind of vibes, except it was 3 minutes into the show, which is what was funny about it. Like we came in all prepared to talk about Florida and Chuck Martin and Nelly Davis catching the ball at the elbow, and now we're like, actually AJ Green's a defensive back. Like I don't know, that was good stuff.
Yeah. Somehow AJ Green transferred back to Arkansas to be offensive back walk on.
There we go.
All right, let's see. Actually, we can go ahead and jump into it as far as the Arkansas-Florida game goes, and we'll use this as part of. We'll get to as far as the Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by Alumni Hall, alumnihall.com, 3417 North College Avenue there in Fayetteville, and you can shop them online and do it in store. The ultimate Razorback shopping experience. I don't know. This is a reminder though; they are actually closed today in store because of the snow, so. Go out there and just do the online thing, and you'll get it that way too. But I know, Curtis, you got to hear from Chuck Martin a little bit, but not only from a press conference that ran really late, but also trying to get this game going tomorrow, which it's going to go. I had people tweeting at me. They're like, do you think they'll play the game tomorrow? I'm like, yes, they're going to play the game tomorrow.
The game. They won't have a big crowd, but they're playing the game.
Yeah. So be safe and be careful out there. But yeah, what about the preview of Florida and Arkansas?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Like the press conference was supposed to start at 11 and it didn't start until about 11:50. And that was just a communication issue, I think, between the communications department and the coaching staff. They got in a little bit late because of the snow and had a meeting. It wound up running long, and they just didn't know exactly when it was going to be done. So we hung out, we waited for it. Chuck Martin talked. Nothing groundbreaking, as you might imagine there. They're very impressed with Florida, know that they have to get on the defensive glass and how important that is, know the importance of getting stops to be able to fuel transition, because obviously they want to play a lot faster than they have been when, the half-court offense is sputtering, I guess you could say. Very complimentary of Florida's pieces, especially Elijah Martin. Talked a little bit about that matchup between him and his old buddy, John L. Davis there. So that'll be a fun little sidebar to this game. But just one thing I will say about this coaching staff, whether it's Cal or any of the guys that he sends up there to talk and do these previews, they're not really stressing. They're not sweating it. They're not worried about it. I mean, it's kind of calm, cool, and collected. Personally, I would like to see a little more sense of urgency there, but they're really committed to the process, man. I think they understand that they need a lot more from their front court, which combined for just 5 points in the game the other night against Ole Miss, especially when you counter that with what Florida has, which is just monster after monster after monster. So like they're deep there with really big physical bodies. And so Arkansas is going to have to get the best out of all three of those guys. So nothing crazy. I mean, it's just going to be a big challenge, but I think he was right in what he kind of wrapped with, which was, like these guys are really good. Everybody is. And, like we could look at what happened to us against Tennessee and what happened with them against Tennessee and feel some type of way about that. But the truth is, in the SEC, we've already seen that anything can happen on any given night. And I think that's a fact. Right now, Florida is a better basketball team than Arkansas. It's not even up for debate. It's not even close. They're trending one way. Arkansas is trending the other. But on one given day, one afternoon, that can change. And that's what the Hogs have to do. Because I didn't call it a must-win against Ole Miss. I'm about there with this one because I just don't know how the hell you get out of an 0-3 hole in this league, and especially with what that would mean for your psyche, your confidence, the momentum for the program. They need to find a way to get this one done. Whatever it takes, they got to get it done. Especially two of those games being at home. That to me is also a huge factor.
Yeah, and to your point on every game is, anything can happen in this league, Curtis. It's interesting to me how different Florida's two games that they played were. Obviously, you lose one, you win one. They played really well in the loss. It's not like they played horrible and then were great. But just the game against Kentucky, 106-100, very high pace. Their guards, Florida's guards, had to make a ton of shots. The tempo was obviously pretty fast. And then you have the Tennessee game, a complete, rock fight, 73-43. You give, I don't know how many times you see a team give up 106 and then give up 43 the next game. You just don't see that, but it's just two completely different games, two completely different matchups. And so it's like, if you're trying to figure out how Arkansas is going to match up in this one, it's kind of impossible. Like, the spectrum is that wide in terms of what this game could look like. And so, you mentioned Arkansas needing to kind of play fast. It'll be interesting to see where the tempo lies in this game.
The thing about that is, it's the conundrum you face when you play a team like Florida. They're good in transition too, but when a team is so heavy on the offensive glass like Florida, you can't afford to leak bodies, right? To try to get a quick outlet and get it up the floor so fast. So they're going to have to be really, like, there's a delicate balance there between making sure your bigs are boxing out, your guards are chipping in to get rebounds, and you're not leaking out or trying to snowbird a little bit to get out in transition, because that's a way to give up an offensive rebound and a dunk. So it is kind of a balancing attack, but they got to figure some things out. Because another question he was asked about just how the half court offense stalls, like they just don't even initiate it until 10 to 15 seconds into the clock. And he was right in what he said about how some teams will do just some fake little pressure, like a 2-2-1 or whatever, just to slow you down a little bit and get you into your stuff later. It doesn't matter. Like, they have to find a way to play faster and with more purpose, or they will get run out of their own building on Saturday.
I did think it was a little interesting, not that it matters because it's the ESPN analytics and whatever, but I was a little surprised to see that it's essentially a 50-50 matchup on their matchup predictor between Arkansas and Florida. I feel like it would have been a little bit heavier towards Florida, but also, I think we all can understand and realize that they are capable of beating Florida. It's just, I don't have any confidence in it. I don't believe they will until they prove otherwise. So, we can't even say about is the atmosphere going to be better on a Saturday? Because I feel like you guys talked about, the weather is going to play a factor into this one. So this is something that the energy will be there a little bit, hopefully, but it needs to be the team on the court is the one's going to have to win the game. And the coaching staff on the court, those are the ones that are going to have to win the game and get out there and get it done. But it's tomorrow, 3:00 on ESPN. So it's on the main station there, the flagship, if you will. And that game will be there. And of course, Pod at the Palace post-game show will be following straight afterwards. And
can we not just do can we just not do the thing where Arkansas is in a big spot on the national network again and gets embarrassed? Can we just avoid that for a change? I really hope so.
Lose admirably for sure. I mean, we can be okay with that. But yeah, it just doesn't want to be a thing where it's a talking point after the game.
Right. Yeah. Nobody wants that. Folks, if you want to end the conversation, call in at 478-344-6623. I will ask a question, though, about Arkansas and Florida basketball. That I don't think, at least going back in the history, they haven't played each other twice in a season very often. Just because, back in the old divisions, they were in the East. Florida had a lot of really good teams under Billy Donovan. But when you think of an Arkansas-Florida basketball game, what's the first one that pops into your mind?
I don't really think of Arkansas-Florida basketball games. No, I'm kind of in look ahead mode. I think when they went down there, I guess it was a couple years ago, and won for the first time in the O-Dome over there, which is crazy that it took them that long to do it. But that was pretty impressive. That might have been an anthracite night.
It was, if I remember correctly. I think it was too.
What year are you talking about?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure it was, because I remember doing a preview, and being like, "Hey, I think Arkansas can go win at Florida for the first time." And then when they had the anthracite uniforms, I was like, "These bastards jinxed it." But then they didn't, and they actually won the game.
Three things happened that night. It was an anthracite night. Devo Davis went off. I think he had like 25. It was when he was the best 3-point shooter of all time in that game, I believe. And also, Hillary and I started dating that night.
Wow. A lot of history made.
There was also snow going on. Not snow, but it was starting to be a snowstorm in Fayetteville.
Oh, yeah. It's another historical night then. Yeah, looking at the box score, Devo Davis, he had 19 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 2 of 3 from three-point land.
3-0.
Yeah, had 6 rebounds in it too. Jalen Williams had a double-double, 15 points, 10 rebounds, and JD Notte, 22 points, 6 rebounds. Aldis Toney got into double digits, 12 points for him. Shot the ball 9 times. Goodness, that's a lot.
And Castleton busted Jalen Williams' ass. What do you have, 30?
Oh, my gosh, that game. Yeah.
He had 29 and 6 was his. And I'm pretty sure Castleton wasn't in Fayetteville the next year. Arkansas won, but Castleton had 29 and 14 or something ridiculous.
And they just kept that was on must though, because they're like, listen, we're just gonna let him get all the ISOs and the posts that he wants, and we're gonna try to shut down everybody else. And buddy, he got all the ISOs in the posts that he wanted. That was rough. Yeah, I pulled up on Hogs just because I want to scroll down to the War Machine highlights there, and there are those beautiful anthracite uniforms, man. Just look great. Look great. But yeah, that would be the one that sticks out the most to me. That, and I just remember I guess we talked about this recently, but I remember being in there for one of those like snow icy nights. I'm pretty sure that was a water main break in the basement of Bud Walton Arena, and they won that game. It was cool because sometimes we get those like weather restricted crowds, and it's a small intimate environment, but it gets pretty rowdy in there when they do that. So
I think there's definitely a chance for that. And honestly, John, when you ask the question of what do I think of like the most memorable Arkansas Florida games, there's been like 7 times Arkansas and Florida basketball have played in the middle of snow. And I think we all three, weirdly enough, were at the game and didn't realize we were all three at the game. That one way back in the day when Ronnie Brewer led him to a win over a good Florida team. There's just a lot of moments like that. I mean, I touched on them yesterday, the A&M and LSU crowds from a couple years ago that were smaller. Like those are still fun games, good performances, good crowds. And so maybe this is what this fan base needs. Needs to have 8,000 of them band together. Then they'll realize we're stronger as a unit. Let's be a unit.
There are 2 Arkansas Florida games I attended as a fan. One of them was the night that they were playing the Belk Bowl on the jumbo screen beforehand. It's like me and my buddies drove down and we sat in Bud for the watch party and just watched them piss away that game and then lose to Florida. So that wasn't very fun. And then I was at the Daniel Gafford windmill game in the SEC tournament. It was in St. Louis that year randomly.
Yep. I was going to say those I forgot about the stupid Belk Bowl game. That thing was garbage because Kayvon Allen went for 35 and destroyed. So that was one of the worst days as a Razorback fan I ever had. It was really bad. And if you notice, they will never do that again. Like a watch party for a bowl game before a basketball game in Bud Walton will never happen again. But yeah, the first one that always comes up was that 06 game in the snow. I remember just as a kid because we got tickets to it, and I was so bummed because the snow and ice came down, and I remember my parents were like, "Yeah, we're not going to go," because we didn't have a parking pass, and to get to these games. And I was like so upset. My dad's like, "Screw it, we're going." We hopped in his Tahoe, and he just pulled up right in front. I think he parked probably in Stan Heat's parking spot. Like he just pulled up and just was like, "Try to tow me," and we went in there, and it was an awesome game. Because we went to overtime, eventual national champions of the Florida Gators. I remember also being on Jefferson Pilot Sports, so shout out to them. But I remember that one. Yeah, the windmill game was a great one too, Curtis, from Daniel Gafford. I also remember, very underrated but didn't lead anything, when Florida was number 2 in the country coming into Fayetteville, and Arkansas beat the crap out of them. It was in Mike Anderson's second year, if I'm not mistaken.
87-61 or something like that. I remember they were ranked number 2.
Yeah, number 2. It was 80-69, but the thing is Arkansas was up by 30 at one point. Florida kind of stormed back a little bit. But yeah, that game was just a insane type of matchup. And one of the big reasons is Arkansas hit 8 threes in that game, which doesn't sound like a whole lot now, but back then it definitely was. Mm-hmm. And considering that it was BJ Young had 13, 2 of 4. Mark Drakis Wade was 2 of 4. Kiko Hadar was 1 of 2. Even Ja'Cory Williams hit a 3 in that game. So that was another really great Florida matchup I remember. That, again, didn't lead to anything because Patrick Young, I know you guys remember him. That dude was a force.
Big boy.
And so that was Kenny Boynton, Scotty Wilbekin. All those players were on that team. So yeah.
Florida has a bunch of memorable players.
They do.
Like even and not even the top end guys, but just kind of the randoms that only SEC basketball followers would know. They have the most of, I feel like, any team.
Next to Duke, they had the most hateable white dudes on their basketball team for a stretch. I hated Matt Bonner. I hated David Lee? Wasn't that his name there?
Yeah,
I think I hated that guy. And they had another one like randomly placed in there in like the early 2000s, late 2000s type of deal. Man, I did not like him. Lee Humphrey, I wasn't a fan of, although he did hit some threes. But yeah, they had some random dudes that didn't do anything, but they were just solid college basketball players for the most part.
Yep.
Yeah, they had Canyon Barry played at Florida. You remember Canyon Barry?
Yep.
I guess he's like Rick Barry's nephew or something like that. Well, also one of my favorite random Rockets of all time. Now, Corey Brewer probably doesn't classify as a random college basketball player because he got drafted and played in the league, but he has one of the most random 50-point NBA games in history. Like he just randomly on one random Wednesday just was like 52 and 8 for the Rockets, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah. Also, Vince for me said Mike Miller. That was another one that was there in Florida.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah. And also another thing too, I know he does get credit, but I still think he never gets enough. Billy Donovan was a phenomenal coach, and dude, because I think he had a record. He went to 5 or 6 straight Elite Eights through a stretch, something like that. Like I said, I could be wrong, but yeah, he was good, and back-to-back national championships. Getting those entire team to come back was impressive. So, but yeah, a lot of great games, great moments, and you have random players mentioning that from Florida. But hopefully tomorrow afternoon, Arkansas ends up making it a little bit more entertaining. That's the hope, at least. All right, let's keep it moving here as we'll get to a few of your chats too, folks. Again, if you want to get on a conversation, 478-344-6623 is that number to call in. David comes in with super chat. Appreciate you, David. He says, resident sunshine pumper here. Nelly and Boogie go for 20 plus, and Adu gets a double book it. Okay.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
I've been sensing this shift in David. I don't know where it came from. Because honestly, I feel, and I like David, he's always a good commenter, but I feel like he's typically pretty negative.
I think he might just be an against the grain guy.
Fair enough. In which case, I respect it. You know.
Yeah. But I think this world needs some sunshine pumping for Razorback basketball. It ain't coming from me, but I think they need it.
Yeah. Aiden also says, we deserve than getting our ass tapped by 20 on our home court to start SEC play with a Hall of Fame coach and highly rated recruits, which is also fair and true. But you won't fix it, but you can really make up a lot of favor if you beat Florida tomorrow. You know, it won't fix all the ailments, but you know, we kind of talked about it around the week. If you go 1-1 at home, you know, it's not, you want to go 2-0, but you'll take it. But if you go 0-2, oof.
If Arkansas wins this game, they're in a better spot than I expected them to be going into SEC play. Because I had them going 1-2 in their first 3 with a win over Ole Miss. They're 1-2 in their first 3 with a win over a top 10 Florida. Hey, they're right where they need to be to meet my 11-7 prediction, boys. They're fine. Everybody relax.
Well, you can also think about it preseason. If I had told you, hey, Arkansas is going to start 1-2 with losses to Ole Miss and Tennessee, and they're going to beat Florida, you'd be like, okay.
All right.
You know,
yeah.
You'd be like, they should beat Ole Miss, but okay. You know, it wouldn't be that far off. But that's expecting a lot.
Even if they do lose tomorrow, it's not end of the world, like pack up the season, but it means like you got to sweep next week and you got to win the Georgia Oklahoma games at home. Like it, at that point, your margin of error is 0 in terms of winning the games you're supposed to win. Like there can be no more slip ups after that. So if they can just find a way to honestly win a game they shouldn't, which we've kind of been waiting for them to do this year, that would be nice for a change.
You know what it seems like to me? It seems like if I could flip this Florida game and move it to next Saturday, I'd feel so much better, because then you feel like if Arkansas were on the road right now for 2 must-win road games, like they could lock in, maybe get some wins out of their system, kind of get back to feeling, then maybe next Saturday we'd feel completely different about this game, and maybe Florida would have looked human between now and then. And, you know, you can kind of ramp up to a big challenge. It just sucks that this Florida game is here, where it's like, even if the team makes a massive improvement from Wednesday night, it might not show up in this game, and you kind of have to delay it to where it's like, okay, now the run starts. I almost wish they had the 2 road games to warm them up for this type of challenge.
Yeah. I don't want people to look at Florida like those back-to-back national championship teams that we were just talking about. Like they're really good, but let's, relax. Okay. Like they're gettable, like they're way ahead of where Arkansas is right now. But they, just a reminder, they did lose that game at Kentucky, playing against the same team that just got the shit beat out of them by Georgia. So like, it's, they're not like some kind of juggernaut here.
No,
it's just a bad matchup.
Yeah, it's like, I almost wish they would flip this Saturday or tomorrow's game with next Saturday's game. If they could, have a road game against Missouri and then LSU on the road and then a home game against Florida. I mean, would have been nice, but Not gonna
Wow,
happen.
what a great take, John. Where'd you hear that one?
Yeah, because when I heard that, I was thinking about saying it in the different way because I was like, well, I wish they would have flipped this Saturday's game with Tuesday's game. Then I was like, well, then no, because people will be pissed off that a game was at another home game, not on a Saturday. So then I was like, well, then you said that. It's like, yeah, okay. Well, because I thought you were saying the opposite. It doesn't matter, but yes, and just kind of slipped into my mind there too.
It is kind of weird how they're doing the 2 at home, 2 on the road, 2 at home, 2 on the road, like the entire SEC schedule. Like they started at Tennessee, and then they're finishing with Mississippi State at home, but it's like a 2-2 situation pretty much the entire time, the rest of the way. So
yeah, actually, it is a 2-2, except for the final game of the year, just because it's at home against Mississippi State. But yeah, it is. Tim has a thing. He says, "Hey, free tickets tomorrow, section 129, lower bowl, next press row." Tim, shout out to you giving out your phone number, my man.
I was
It's a
bold
bold move.
his phone number up, man.
Yeah, it's a bold move, but yeah, if anybody wants those free tickets, I feel like there'll be a lot of people giving away their tickets because of weather and whatnot. So, but yeah, hopefully there still ends up being a pretty decent crowd that's there. Okay, let's also let's do this. Let's talk about a little bit of the college football playoff side of things too. Here and get folks, if you want to get to winning not only with the college football playoffs but also with the Razorback basketball game tomorrow. A lot of prop plays and everything with Bet Saracen. Do it on the Bet Saracen app. So let's go to betsaracen.com to get to winning here in the state of Arkansas. It is Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. So let's talk about last night. Penn State and Notre Dame was a great game, honestly. Great game, close game, great matchup. Notre Dame gets the victory, but man, the last minute of the fourth quarter, game's tied. Penn State just got the ball back on a punt, could play for overtime, but instead throws an awful throw, gets picked. Notre Dame gets it with their timeouts, goes downfield, kicks a field goal, wins it. Great game, but what an epic failure and disaster for James Franklin and the Penn State Nittany Lions at the end of that game.
Yeah, that's brutal. I mean, it was so crazy because they got they were set up to lose that game earlier, like around the 2-minute warning. They got the big defensive stop, got the punt, and it was almost like all the momentum was on their side. And then I remember hearing that conversation on the broadcast of, well, like, do they get aggressive here? Do they trust Aller, the quarterback, or do they just run out and play for overtime? And it's like, no, he's thrown 9 interceptions in his entire career. You let him go, and then boom, pick. like clockwork, buddy. And then they got the field goal, and that was that. But it's just crazy how that works sometimes. And then listening to who was it? Was it McElroy on the call?
Yes.
It was just freaking out. He was like, "Do not score a touchdown in a tie game with 30 seconds left. Don't do it. Whatever you do, do not get in that end zone and give them time." And I'm like, I'm not sure that this is.
McElroy was going crazy. There was a rules. I think there was the pass interference. So Riley Leonard throws the horrible interception. Penn State goes down and scores a touchdown. McElroy, when they called that shaky pass interference, it was a bailout. Let's just be honest, because Aller threw a really horrible pick on that play as well. McElroy was like, "That's a great call, best call I've ever seen. That's the correct call." And we're like, "Dude, relax."
Yeah, I mean, he was all over the place, man.
Hey, listen, that was probably, I could be wrong, but that was probably his first playoff game he has done, or at least close to it. And he's like, I got to make a scene, got to make my appearance known. I don't know, but because it's weird too, because Alar, I guess is how you say his name, for Penn State, the quarterback, he didn't complete a pass to a wide receiver yesterday, but he did complete one to a defensive back there for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So.
Yeah,
that's just
neither
wild.
One of those teams can throw the ball worth a crap.
No,
that's crazy.
No, it was not great. And what's funny too is I tweeted this out, but just as a friendly reminder, Razorback fans, you do play Notre Dame next year, so you get 3 playoff teams on your schedule with Notre Dame, of course, Texas, as well as Tennessee. So, yay. It's going to be great. There was people saying that Oklahoma State was a playoff team earlier this year, and they were obviously wrong. But I think that this will be actually a legitimate thing with Arkansas and Notre Dame. And I just started thinking about this, guys. Arkansas has the worst luck and timing of non-conference scheduled games, where at the time they schedule the game, the team is either average or a little bit good, and then by the time they actually play, they end up being amazing. There's so many examples. Like, look at Cincinnati. Arkansas had to play them just a couple years ago, coming off of the only team, first team at least, at that point, to make the college football playoff from a non-Power 5 team. Before that, I even looked it up, guys. Remember Arkansas playing USC in football during their heyday of Reggie Bush and all that? Arkansas scheduled that game in 1998. All right? That was coming off of USC's like historically worse time, and then a year later is when Pete Carroll got hired, and the rest was history. They scheduled TCU in 2005. And then that one was when TCU was not anybody, Gary Patterson really wasn't getting going. And then when they played them, they had appeared in some pretty big BCS games and whatnot. So same thing with, again, like I think it's Cincinnati. There was another one too that I feel like I'm missing. But point is, it seems like Arkansas's always had to play the non-conference slate, always when it's the best teams. And I don't really understand how someone can have that terrible of timing, but it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. And then now they have, isn't it Utah that they just randomly scheduled that's coming up in a few years, but it will be at the time where like this is the first down year they've had in a while, but they'll be like the back-to-back Big 12 champs or whatever, like when it gets time for Arkansas to play that game. It's set in stone the way it's going to happen. Hell, even BYU was, they obviously this was their year, I guess, but like they were a much better program when you had to do that than, what they had been. It's crazy.
Maybe Arkansas,
Colorado State,
caught them in a good 2018 season that you found. But to that point, you also scheduled it at years where Arkansas could lose to a Colorado State or a North Texas. North Texas, I think, was actually pretty competent the year that Arkansas lost to them. Not excusing it, but I think maybe Arkansas should time it well. They should hire Kyle Whittingham the year before that home and home with Utah.
Yeah.
Steal the coach so that you have a depleted team over there. Yeah, plus Utah doesn't like being in the Big 12 anyway. I'm sure Kyle Whittingham doesn't like it.
Yeah. Just come to the SEC. It'll be much easier and better for you at Arkansas. Totally. Yeah. Because those were, what's funny is those Colorado State games, people may not remember, Michigan was supposed to play Arkansas instead. But so maybe you dodged a bullet because it would have been the same thing. You scheduled Michigan when it was the Brady Hoke, Rich Rodriguez era. And the year that you're supposed to play Michigan was the year Jim Harbaugh got hired. So it's like, even then you dodged a bullet, but it didn't matter because you lost. But I know you guys can name, at least here in the past, since 2000, the only non-conference power team that Arkansas has lost both home and road games to. It's Rutgers, of all of them. Not Texas, not Texas Tech, not TCU.
I want to see Rutgers on the schedule next year.
No.
You don't just go to Piscataway and get out of there with a win.
That was one of those famous blown leads by Brett Bielema. And I know also you guys know who started at quarterback in that game.
AJ Derby.
That's right.
Big load coming at you. He was a big load.
Yeah. Just playing the wrong position there. Arkansas was up 24-7 and, of course, lost. And I remember hearing about, Razorback fans went up there, but I remember hearing about just Piscataway and Rutgers. They have hot tubs like in the stadium overlooking the game. Just like you see some guys, the Jersey Shore looking people, just like, hey, what's up? Then they got the like sausages being delivered to them and everything. I was like, man, this is quite something. And then you lost to them.
There are very few things less appealing to me than getting in a New Jersey hot tub, man. Like I don't think that's for me.
No, want no business of it. Andrew, do you remember when Baum Walker Stadium had the hot tubs? I think we talked about this maybe before.
I was not. I definitely didn't come to the stadium during that time period.
I just remember when it was announced. I'm like, that is the worst. I don't think you could find a worse idea than to add hot tubs to a sport outdoors where the majority of the season is played in 80-degree plus weather. I just don't think that there's any allure to that. But yeah, but either way, Arkansas, plays Notre Dame next year. Is that game 2 of the season? Next season? Or game 3?
No, I think it's like 3 or 4. Because don't they play Arkansas State week 2? Did I make that up?
I think that's right.
That is right, because they play the A&T Alabama or Alabama A&M game 1, and then at Fayetteville. Then they play Arkansas State.
they play an SEC game. They play Ole Miss before they play Notre Dame.
That's
They
right.
play Ole Miss week 4.
I think Ole Miss
here
is
it
week
is.
3.
It's Alabama, then Arkansas State, at Ole Miss, at Memphis, then Notre Dame.
Wow.
Good
Okay.
Lord.
That's a weird start to the season right there.
That's
Enjoy that Alabama A&M one.
so you're Fayetteville for A&M, you're Little Rock for Arkansas State, Oxford, Memphis, then back home for Notre Dame. You get a bye week after that, and then you go to Knoxville. Cool. My goodness,
Got to
man.
start 2-0. That's what I'll say. You got to
And-
start 2-0.
Then you get the Aggies in Fayetteville, which that's cool. Auburn comes to town, Mississippi State comes to town. So you get three straight SEC home games in 3 straight weeks. And then you get a bye and you go to Baton Rouge and you go to Texas back-to-back weeks.
Easy.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how anyone's not excited about
Schedule's
next year.
nuts, man.
Sheesh. Well, don't get in arguments with scheduling with on Twitter, apparently, as I did last night about old Missouri former cheerleader gal that was just could not understand why Arkansas and Notre Dame would play each other in a game.
Really been out of shape about that.
I was like, they're like, you should be scheduling easy wins. It's like, okay, but there was a rule put into place by the SEC. You had to play a Power 5 team. Well, play Purdue. Okay, well, only so many teams in the non-conference can play Purdue. Like sometimes you got to mix it up a little bit, but that was wild. It's one of those weird times.
Yeah, no, can't play Purdue because that's the type of team that Missouri schedules every year.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
saying, like you guys,
Boston College and UMass.
Good Lord, man.
yeah. And they almost lost to Boston College, if I'm not mistaken, this year. It was a close one. Yeah. Had to go up to Amherst for the UMass game. That's disgusting. Oh, gosh. Let's get to a few chats real quick, too. Angel wants to know, can we storm the court at Florida?
This is a great question. This is a
Yes,
great
you
question.
can.
I mean, seriously, this might be your last chance to do it under Cal.
Listen, we're begging for excitement. You know what I mean? If they win this game and it's rowdy in there, I don't give a damn. Storm it. I do not care. Just do it.
There's gonna be 3,000 fans there. It's gonna be like a little scattered crowd storm, but
And all 3,000 need to be on the floor if they win. I do not care, man. We need that. And you know what? You know what that does? The players are in there, like, hey, put a Dude Theero on your freaking shoulders, student section. Who cares? I'm serious, man. If they win, storm it. Let Cal piss and moan about it after the game. I don't care. Celebrate.
Yeah.
Get the people going, man. We got to get this team connected with the fans. There's no better thing that could happen
by
than
letting the fans run and sprint at them full speed. That is
do it, man. I do not care.
Because I think somebody said, maybe we talked about it, that Cal has never been a part of a court storming where he's been the home team or the home coach.
I guarantee you his shirt stays on.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. When you're saying going,
you really will be.
Oh yeah. Well, you were saying grab a Dude Theero. I'm like, dude, no, grab Cal because again, you may have the mafia bosses coming after you like swarming, but grab Cal and put everybody on his shoulders. I couldn't imagine what he would be doing and how awkward that'd be. Be like, come on over.
I think that Cal could handle it the way Jerome Tang did, and it would go over really well. Because I remember when they stormed the floor, I think it was Kansas. I think they beat him there, and it was his first year. And they celebrated and everything. And then after the game, he might have actually got on the damn microphone, like standing on the scorer's table, if I remember correctly. But after the game, he was like, hey, celebrate this, but now expect it. Because like we're not going to do this anymore because we don't lose in this building no matter who's coming in here. Like that would be the type of stuff that would get Razorback fans going. You want to win them over, do that.
Yeah, that would be cool. Do you remember when Kentucky was here and Cal Arkansas didn't even storm the court because they had just done it against Auburn, but he left early, like the team left or before the game was over.
Out. Yeah,
that was wild. But yeah, I think Cal would he would definitely not be a fan of the court storming if they did it. No. And I mean, being serious, I don't know if it would happen this weekend.
I don't know that it would either. I don't think it would, even if they win. And honestly, under any other circumstances, there's no way I would be on board for storming against Florida. I need the vibes up, man.
You need some
like
juice.
When it rained at Holes, it'd be like, holy cow, we got to celebrate this.
Yeah. And because again, court storming, it gets played all the time on SportsCenter when people share it on social media. And I think the talking point would be it's Cal's first and how he would respond or handle it would be really funny. But I I don't know. I just feel like it would be very awkward, just like everything else. But everyone's like running up to Cal and he's, shoving people away. And suddenly, Rocco and Johnny come in and just, going to knock some heads in there if you even touch Cal. So, it would be funny though.
Like when they stormed the field against Texas football, like Texas wasn't the number one team in the country or anything like that, but it was just a moment for the program with everything that had been going on. When they stormed the floor against Auburn, it wasn't even that much about them being number one as much as it was everything that people had been through the previous year with the COVID crowds, and it was just weird. And Arkansas had such a good team. You feel like you couldn't pack the bud and celebrate them. And that was like their moment to really do it. This is not on that level. I'm not saying that, but for the love of God, man, like, can we just get fan base, team on the same page? Can we just get that? So I don't care. Do it.
Yeah,
it's good.
I mean, it would be fun.
Arkansas basketball, it's funny. They stormed the court in 99 against Auburn. They didn't storm it again until that 06 Florida game that we just referenced in the snow. And I remember John George at that game, fun fact, was like angry, screaming at the fans to stay off the court. Like he was irate. At least I think it was John George. I'm pretty sure it was, but because they were just so nervous, didn't happen. And then no court storming until the Arkansas Auburn game of 2021. So went through a long time frame, and now there's a chance that you have 3 court stormings in 5 years if it happens. I also think if I had my choice, I'd rather do it against Alabama personally, but hey, do it against Florida right now. Timing, it needs
especially if Alabama is like still ranked in the top 5 when that moment happens. Because maybe if Arkansas is beating Alabama later in the year, that means they've really turned things around and are heading towards an upward trajectory. It would make a lot of sense. But I really do honestly think like if Arkansas gets this thing back on track anytime soon, there's not going to be that many opportunities to storm the court with Calipari as your head coach.
True.
Well, yeah, because next year, just assuming everything works out and everything's better and everything's great, yeah, you're not going to be the type of program that needs to do those things. So, that's way down the road. For when that happens.
And I don't know why we're talking about this so much. It's mostly my fault. But the other thing that we hear people talking about with like what the disconnect is or whatever right now is like these guys don't care about being a Razorback. Like they're here for a year to get their check and get to the league or whatever. And it's like it's okay to feel that way or give off that impression. You want to make them care about being a Razorback, like feel a little pride for the jersey on your back. Beat a top 10 team and give those kids the experience of that type of celebration. I'm on board. I'm all in on the court storm, fellas. I just think they do. Hell, don't get it this time. Beat Oklahoma and storm the court. I don't care. You get an SEC win at home, storm the floor the first time, and just get it over with. This is called biting the bullet right here. You do it for the greater good of the cause. Okay.
I like it. I really have talked myself into tomorrow's crowd being a kind of fun one. Just because like if you're going to the game in the middle of the snow, you're like that's a real fan right there, So it's like, it's going to be obviously a much smaller crowd, but I could see it being a cool little intimate experience if they move everyone to the lower deck.
Yeah. Hopefully they do. And hopefully, people are coming in pretty, what was it that Sam Pittman said? Not liquored up, but lathered up, maybe?
Yeah, lathered up. I love when he says that.
Good and lathered up. Maybe there'll be some of those guys because a lot of students are going to be coming back into town, maybe. School's starting back up, but yeah, could be one of those like weird type of crazy atmospheres, weird vibes from it. High School Mint Julep says, "Can we storm John's place when we hit 10,000 subscribers?"
Yes, I'll lead you right to it.
I don't know why you would want to. Like, it's not a place worth storming. I can promise you that.
But 8,000 we're about to crack.
Yeah, 8K. Getting close. So you better subscribe.
That far away. We'll be at 10K by the time the Diamond Hogs are dogpiling in TD Ameritrade.
Oh yeah, easily. And yeah, so if you're watching and listening right now and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe by all means. Do it.
You have to.
Yep, we're requiring it. Bobby says, what do you guys think about AJ Green coming back as DB? Just rewind to the beginning of the stream, and we discussed it in depth there.
And got right into it.
Rewind to the beginning, and then fast forward through the 3 minutes we talked about him coming back as a running back, and then you'll hear our thoughts about DB.
Yeah, about like the 8-minute mark is when we found our stride and really understood what was going on with the AJ Green thing. But we were used to doing it in real time.
Yeah, just for context, if you do that, when we started, we were operating off of just a cryptic social media post that he put out with his name and a Razorback on above his locker. So we didn't know what the context of it was, and we learned that in real time. So good stuff.
Yeah, that's the most fun, and I always enjoyed it when I was doing radio at the Buzz. Anytime breaking news happened during my show is always my favorite thing, because even if you're wrong about something, no one's going to hold you against it because it was live. You could just say whatever you wanted, and no one was going to really care.
This is definitely going to go down as my favorite one of the off season. Like, we've been live when stuff has popped here before, but it's like, like the Hayes Fawcett dude is like, breaking so-and-so is committed to Arkansas or whatever. We're just like, I just happen to have the noties still turned on from 3 years ago.
For AJ Green?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that's having AJ Green noties is honestly next level.
I've still got Ron Holland noties on.
I do not have those.
I just got to fix some things, man.
You need to clean up your notifications list for real.
I really do.
Say, I have like notifications for about 6 or 7 things, and any more than that, I'd be going out of my mind. I would just be killing it. So yeah, you probably need to change that.
I don't even have John's noties on.
Oh, that's sad. I have your noties on.
I'll get your noties on. I need to get your noties.
There you go. Yeah, and I got to guilt you into it. Yeah. No,
well, I mean, now that I think about it, I probably should.
I don't think I have John's noties on either. John tweets a lot.
I do. And that's why I'm saying I don't care if you do or not.
I assume that if there's anything like like something that I really need to know that John's going to tweet about, that we've already talked about it, or that he's going to drop it in our group chat or something. I might be wrong.
No, I mean, literally 92% of my tweets are just stupid, like things about my mind that I'm just thinking about. So yeah,
I noticed. Actually, I could almost list you everybody I'm subscribed, or not subscribed, but I have notifications for. Curtis is one of them. Dave Van Horn, who never tweets, is one of them.
Yeah.
I think I also do have Razorback Baseball. They're the only Razorback account that I do have notifications for, and Conor McGregor. Because he deletes all of his tweets once.
You got to catch him in real time. Yeah,
it's like a lot of times he'll be tweeting, and then like if you check it 3 hours later, it's gone. So I like to have those noties.
I finally turned my Musselman noties off. Had those for a while.
I'd say that was probably a lot. You think I'm tweeting a lot? I feel like he was on another level. Because I also, for my notification, I got the 3 major sports at Arkansas and all 3 major coaches at Arkansas with their notifications, and I got y'all too, and I got also for the portal stuff, pretty much.
Yeah, I got the major national portal guys. I have those. Tipton, you got to have Tipton's notice on. Tipton's always on top of it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll tell you what's tough is at times having John Rothstein's noties on, because there are times where you really, really need him. It's like schedule time, because he's usually the guy that puts out, hey, Arkansas is playing so-and-so team. So I just turn his noties on instead of doing the FOIA request, because it takes too much of my time to get it myself. And buddy, that can be an adventure with that man.
Stay humble. Stay hungry.
He tweets once a minute for 6 straight minutes every morning at 5 a.m. I know that.
Yeah.
It's
every day is a gift, says Art Lovely.
Yeah. And then We Sleep in May is always the one he tweets out in the mornings too. So I just wonder, does he schedule those out? He has to.
I'm guessing he just went through one day and scheduled for the year or something like that. Jay Billis used to tweet out like lyrics to what artist was it? But he would tweet out rap lyrics and then say, I gotta go to work.
Jeezy?
Yeah, it was Jeezy. That's what it was. Sure, like Jeezy, and then it'd be like something, like a rap lyric. I gotta go to work.
Yep. Those are pretty good.
Like this from Dalton. He says, I remember making a Twitter account for one night just to see who Kelly Bryant committed to.
Goodness gracious.
Oh,
yeah.
Those are good times, man. The 2018 season. Yeah, those are good times.
Take an official visit like in the middle of the season when he just transferred from Missouri for a Razorback football game. Yeah, weird times back then. Weird times. All right, let's keep it moving here on the show. We'll do a little SEC update presented by Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com. Use promo code Hogs by 20 for 20% off your first purchase. All the different types of warm wear, cold wear there. Check it out, Rhoback.com. Promo code Hogs by 20 for 20% off your first purchase. Ohio State, Texas tonight, guys. Who you got? Who do you
Ohio
want to
State.
win?
Ohio State.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I want Ohio State to win, but I would prefer them winning over Texas.
Yeah, I
if that
can't do
makes
the
sense.
Texas thing.
I don't care really, but yeah, I would prefer to see Ohio State, and I think they're the better team. I mean, they're favored, right? What's the spread looking like on that one?
6.
Right now, according to Bet Saracen, it's 6. Yeah, still.
Six.
But,
yeah, I mean, I think that's a correct spread. I could see Texas covering, but I just feel like Ohio State, man, they're the most talented, and they've really leveled up here in the last. I mean, since the Michigan game. I mean, they looked awesome in these playoffs. Texas is good, well rounded, but I just feel like there's a little bit of a lower ceiling, and neither quarterback's that much of a game changer.
no.
I just don't see a way. The outcome of this game is not going to make the national title game more compelling. I think I might be for the Fighting Irish in the title
No
game.
matter what.
I
I
am.
think so.
I am.
And I don't like that at all, but I don't know. I like their coach. I really dislike both of these teams playing tonight. I don't know what else to do. I got to have some kind of allegiance here.
So to be clear, you're saying you're going to cheer for Notre Dame either way.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying like Notre Dame beats either one of these teams.
Oh, yeah, they probably don't beat either one of these teams, but I'm pulling for them to do that, I think, regardless of who it is tonight.
I feel like Texas is weird where like, what do they have? One loss?
2 to Georgia twice.
Georgia twice. I feel like they've been just like, they were supposed to be good and they are good. I don't think they've had a bunch of like real sound performances. They played pretty well against A&M, mostly defensively, but I just don't feel like they've had like a thorough like ass kicking of another good team.
Yeah,
And
the
I feel like
Clemson,
Ohio State's done that here lately.
yeah, the Clemson game for Texas was in jeopardy there for just a second, but they won it. And it wasn't that impressive. Arizona State, they should have freaking lost, and people were saying Arizona State shouldn't even been in there. Had they not won the Big 12. So
or Clemson. I mean, those are the two. Those are maybe the two worst playoff teams, and they looked fine in those games, but like nothing crazy. I just feel like Ohio State. If we're just going off of what have you done for me lately, they've looked so dominant. I have a hard time imagining that they just. It seems like they flipped a switch offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hate both the teams, but I want Ohio State as much as it pains me because I hate Ohio State just as much as anything. But I just don't want to deal with Texas fans first year in the SEC winning a national title. Like I just can't. I can't deal with that. And I mean, they're already obnoxious as it is, and going and they like. I'm not blaming them, but kind of like what you said, Andrew. They haven't looked dominant. I don't even want to say they've been lucky, but they've been pretty fortunate in the matchups that they've gotten, comparatively speaking. And the only team that they played that was really good was Georgia, and they lost twice. So I don't know. I think Ohio State beats them. I think Ohio State beats them handedly, to be honest. So games in Arlington though tonight, 6:30 p.m. on ESPN. If you want to check that out, and then the championship game. Where is the championship game? I think
Atlanta.
It's in. Yeah. Okay. Hot Atlanta.
Which I feel like there's been a lot of Atlanta sporting events here lately.
There has been. I mean.
Like,
I feel like that in Vegas.
Playoff game in Atlanta?
Yeah, the Peach Bowl.
And that was a playoff game?
Pretty sure it was, yeah.
So I guess it's weird that like because they do the national title game, it's just like a whoever bids on it, right?
Yeah, well, for a while there when they started the BCS used to be just like a reoccurring thing, like alternating bowl games, and then they created a BCS championship game, but it would still be at one of the sites of that game. Yeah, and then when the playoffs started, they just had sites or whatever. I don't know. It's weird because they can't piss off the big bowl game people, so they have to, accommodate everybody. But here's the thing: College Football National Championship, whenever it is, and hopefully it's soon, needs to be in Vegas because that'll be fun. Everything just needs to be in Vegas. All the championship games for everything, just put it in Vegas. Everyone will be happy.
I'm down for that.
So yeah, Ohio State, Texas tonight. It's going to be going down. Also, Carson Beck committed to Miami officially. I know everyone's shocked by that, but
I have my skepticism about how that's going to work out.
I think that's fair. They just had Cam Ward. Is he going to be better than Cam Ward?
No.
Who knows? But I also didn't realize he's dating like some model in Miami. So like this move was actually made a lot more sense than we realized.
Why am I thinking he was dating a Cavender twin?
I think that's who it is.
Okay. Because she went back to Miami, and I think that's why a lot of people were saying, because the other twin is dating some Dallas Cowboys tight end or something, and Carson Beck's name. So, yeah, there you go.
Speaking of athletes dating models, did you guys see Walker Kessler? I know you remember him. He's dating the chick that just won Miss America.
Yep. I did not know that. His 7-foot ass is
what got him a heck, man? Yeah.
Yep. I found that out last night when I was doing that random stream of watching Razorback highlights, because we watched the Razorbacks and Auburn game when Auburn was #1, and somebody in the chat was like, "Yeah, he's with Miss America now." It's like, God, I hated that guy.
The guy just keeps falling up, you know.
He meet her in Utah. Is that where he's at? I think he's in Utah for
the Jazz.
Yeah. I wonder how he met Miss America
at Auburn, because she was Miss Alabama or whatever. Yeah, and then
I was just assuming it was Instagram or like slide into DMs.
Yeah, Tinder or something. Who knows?
Walker Kessler being on Tinder, that'd be something. But yeah, that's again, Carson Beck going to Miami. I don't really know about all that, but hey, he gets a bag and he gets to hang out with Haley or whoever it is, Cavender. It should be good for him. He'll be just fine. So, all right, a few other chats here too. Brian just wants to know, random, do any of you guys golf?
No.
I mean, here and there. I'll golf socially, but like I really don't golf much.
Yeah.
Top golf is my golf.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go mess around over there. But.
I went through like a phase a few years ago, but it's an expensive hobby to have, and I just I'm not a baseball player, so there's no reason for me to play golf.
I try to golf. I actually really enjoy it, but it's just a very frustrating game. And yeah,
I definitely don't have the patience for it.
It's like you have to basically throw any sort of sense of pride in yourself out the window whenever you step onto the course. And that's the only way you can truly like enjoy it, as being a terrible player. It's just, I'm just here to have fun. And I don't care how many balls I lose or how many people I hit. It's just something you got to deal with.
I did golf. I was on the golf team throughout high school, but I used my dad's clubs, and I haven't had clubs since I was 18. So, nope, didn't play.
Kingsley's over here is like, do any of you guys disc golf?
I want to.
Disc golf is pretty fun. I don't do it regularly, but I've dabbled a a little bit here at like church camp back in the day. There's a disc golf place like right by my house.
There's one by mine too. Yeah.
I almost hit people that are crossing the street to get it like a lot during the summer.
Yeah, I know some people refer to it as frolf, I guess, for frisbee golf. But yeah, I played a little bit. Went through a stint there, but again, it kind of goes back to the whole golf thing. I can't throw frisbee very well, so it's just you get frustrated by it and everything. I think Gully Park had one. I think that's where I always used to play.
That's yeah.
Gully Park.
I'll bang some chains here and there.
Like David's saying, he's like, Curtis's golf clubs are actually light poles.
That's funny. That's another thing. When you were taller than average and left-handed, golf becomes an increasingly expensive habit. So
also Bids for Me says, hey, great pot at the Palace, Curtis. I'm just so frustrated with what Bud Walton has turned into. Also not sure how the fellas aren't in total panic mode for basketball.
Thank you. I appreciate you listening to that. Yeah, I haven't even gone and looked at the comments yet because I knew I get irritated. But I prefaced right out of the gates, like, before you even comment on, just listen to what I'm about to say, and then you don't have to agree, but that's okay. But really dove deep on just the disconnect. But yeah, I mean, with the fans and the team, with the team on the floor, it was I felt good about it, so it makes me feel good that at least somebody out there enjoyed it. So thank you.
Also, I like that he doesn't think we're in panic mode a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm like a duck, underneath. You can't see the feet, but they're paddling away, man. I'm freaking out.
I'm been past panic mode. I'm just in with everything going on. I'm just depressed about everything, so I can't even panic about anything anymore. Let's go ahead and jump into your Arkansas update presented by Davis and Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters the most. I really wanted to, of course, get in this segment, give a shout out to the Ladybacks. That's right. They are called the Ladybacks. Shout out to Mike Neighbors and his Razorback squad. They got an SEC win last night on the road against Auburn, coming from behind. I know the team's not very good. They're not going to the tournament. They probably won't even go to the NIT, all of that. But give credit where credit is due. Shout out to Mike Neighbors getting out there, being down on the road, getting a win in the SEC before the men's basketball team won an SEC game like we all predicted.
I feel a little bit better about my over 1.5 SEC wins pick the other day or whatever it was. So good for them. No, yeah, she's ridiculous, man. She scored like 60% of the points or something. So
I was about to say, I saw the final score was like in the was it like high 50s, low 60s, and she had 30 something. That's that the math checks out. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'll be honest, like if there's a game on and I got like my TVs, I'll try to turn it on when I can, when I'm home and I can remember it. But it just seems like she's the only one that I ever see on social media that gets mentioned or anything like that. Because she finished with just a mere 36 points, 13 of 20 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. She also had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, but she also had 7 turnovers. But I guess that's what happens when you're literally doing everything.
It's the JD Note role.
Yes,
I mean,
very much so. The next leading scorer for Arkansas had 9, and then after that was 2. So that's very, very much a one-sided deal there. But yeah, Arkansas 8-10, 1-2 in SEC play now. So just wanted to give a shout out to old Mike Neighbors and getting the win, getting the job done.
It's good, man. I have an Arkansas update.
Yeah,
Arkansas basketball. We love doing this. We love talking about it, but Joe Lunardi's new bracketology came out. The more bracketologies come out, the worse this gets for Arkansas. That's what happens when you lose games. But when I checked the bracket matrix, they were still in like 51 out of 53 brackets, even after this loss the other day. Anyway, Lunardi's came out. We were talking about destinations and stuff. They're an 11 seed, and they're in his last 4 byes, so like one of the last 8 teams in the field. But first round matchup with UCLA, Mick Cronin. A win would get them the winner of Norfolk State and Kansas, who you already beat in an exhibition game. Those games would be played in Denver. Give me that.
I'll
UCLA and Kansas and Denver. Get the 11 seed. I don't care. I want this, man. That would be awesome.
If we could somehow clinch that right now,
sign me up.
Skip the rest of the season, just line them up. We'll show up. We'll be there in March. We'll play that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
Mm-hmm. Hey, no love for the possibility of playing Norfolk State in the second round? I mean, come on.
Although they gave Tennessee a way better game than Arkansas did, like right before they played them. So,
God, that'd be a very like funny thing to happen if Arkansas wins an 11-6 matchup and then loses in an 11 versus 14 game.
Yeah, and Cal still can't escape the allegations.
Oh god,
that would be funny. That I would actually like. Would you accept that, knowing that was what was going to happen?
Probably, yeah.
You're planning to lose to Kansas anyway. It's like, well, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Well, it would be the first like kind of major upset Arkansas's ever had in the NCAA tournament, for one, and 2. Wasn't Norfolk State the one that beat Missouri when they had Frank Haith at the number 2 seed?
Like
yeah.
2, yeah. That year, like there was like a bunch of 14, 15 teams that won.
Because Duke lost to a Lehigh as the 2 seed.
DJ McCullum.
Yep. I remember that. So, yeah, every time I think of Norfolk State, I think of that because that Missouri team won 30 games and lost in the first round.
Mike Anderson set them up for greatness, and they just couldn't get the ball across the finish line.
Yeah, that was another crazy thing that Mike Anderson left Arkansas, which I get it, or left for Arkansas. But, man, the team he left behind there, Missouri, was stupid good. Like, I could not believe. Imagine if – I always wondered if they had it now like it was then, or had it then like it is now. Would all those players or any of those players transferred and followed Mike Anderson over to Arkansas? I don't know. Like Phil Pressey, would he have come along? I don't know.
He's too much of a man of character to even like. He would have done the Sam Pittman thing where he's like, you know what, honor your commitment.
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah, you're right.
What freaked me out? I meant to bring this up when we were talking about the SEC stuff the other night. Seeing Frank Haith on the sidelines at Texas as an assistant was weird. His head just appeared on the screen in the middle of that game, and I was like, "What the hell is he doing over there?"
I forgot that.
Him and Rodney Terry, man, that's a combo.
Yeah, I'll never forget when he got hired at Missouri, because Missouri thought they were getting what was it? The coach from Purdue.
Yeah.
They thought it was a surefire thing, and when he said no, they're like, "We fired Frank Haith." And I looked at some of the media there and social media from Miami, because that's where Frank Haith was at the time, is Miami, and they're all like, "Yeah, here, sure, go ahead, take it. We were literally about to fire him, and you took him off our hands, so thank you." Can't believe that didn't work out for him up there at Missouri. But they've had a rough run between him and then after that I think it was Kim Anderson. And
Poor
then,
guy.
Yeah,
Nicest
Kim
guy in the
Anderson,
world.
good run there. Yeah, John, I could never imagine hiring a coach that the team he was coming from was thinking about firing him. I just could not imagine that.
No, not us, not I, not anyone here around here at least. Yeah, please. Also, we just got a few minutes here, folks. Appreciate you all chiming in and getting in and everything. Apparently, people are talking about chili and beans and stuff in the chat, so that's great.
Yeah.
Did like this. Kingsley says currently freestyling to the intro. All right, well, you got to record your freestyle and send it in so we can play it back for the people.
There.
Yeah.
We will gladly change it every day to like a fan's freestyle. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and suddenly every start of the show turns into the last scene of 8 Mile, and you just got people rap battling here, and ends up being that. Also, Caden was like, "Can we talk about John almost getting the channel banned?" I did not almost get the channel banned last night. It was I know. I thought I did the rigorous research into it, and it didn't work out on YouTube though. Everywhere else was fine, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun looking at those old games and seeing some highlights of those times of people talking about where they were, being at those games. It was good, little positive vibes that were happening there. And also got to talk about my story of Willie Cauley-Stein and how I was able to get his phone number in the student section and mess with him before the game. It was great. So yeah, good times. And somebody also said I didn't start, but they said instead of doing highlights, do all the worst games of the Razorbacks. I'm like, why?
Yeah. North Texas, Colorado State, Toledo, ULM. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds fun. So fun. Yeah. Let's just do that. We'll watch the 2018 Game 2 World Series against Oregon State together. Sure.
You're not gonna be able to find that kind of stuff on War Machine's channel. He didn't put the BS up there.
No, he doesn't put the losses, but he will put highlights of great games in losses. Like when Brandon Allen threw 7 touchdowns against Mississippi State. They lost that game, but he still has it put up there. Yeah. Because I ended up watching at the end of the stream because people were begging for it. That video, I think Hoggy Bones put it up of Chad Morris being the worst coach. And it was just like a highlight thing of the deals with Chad Morris and when he got hired, when he was struggling, when he got fired. They kind of highlight a little bit of the walk and talk there after the Western Kentucky game. But people loved it. They wanted to see that. They were craving to see that. It was awful, but really funny. I was like, hey, it is positive because if you ever think things are bad for Razorback football now, just watch that video and see how much worse it was. But one play I did forget about, guys, was when Jordan Jones, I know y'all remember that name, Jordan Jones, the wide receiver for Arkansas, and Rakeem Boyd collided into each other on that shotgun play against LSU.
Yeah.
I was explaining Jordan Jones's existence to Hillary while we were driving from Louisiana up through the state of Arkansas, and I got about 20 seconds in when I was like, "This isn't a worthwhile story. The Jordan Jones story is just not effective. Doesn't play. I lost her."
Jordan Jones. Well, add him to the list of like him and JoJo Robinson of wide receivers get talked about insane athleticism and speed that literally never played. So,
hey, Jordan Jones, Chad Morris's first game as a Hog, had like 5 for 130 and a couple touchdowns against Eastern Illinois or whoever it was, and then just didn't play the rest of the year. Like just got benched after that. It was the craziest thing.
Man, miss those times of knowing players and then being around for a while and never like you'll never see. Yeah. Like you'll never see any players like that anymore either. Of like a player that does not play but is at one school for 3 or 4 years, just doesn't happen anymore. So you'll never see it. All right, yeah, like I said, we got a few minutes here before we about to wrap up and everything. So I'll tell you what, I think it's kind of fun because we do get weird with the chat sometimes, but we are going to use this last like 5 minutes to 10 minutes, depending on how off the rails it goes, folks. We'll answer anything you ask. Promise you. Anything you want to throw in the chat.
A lot.
Yeah,
like it's become a chili heavy chat.
Yeah, so let's just do that. Yeah, chili guys, your thoughts. Chili.
Yeah. I mean, you want some chili in the chat, but I don't. It's become very chili heavy.
Yeah, I had some last night. It was good. I needed more heat though, and I couldn't go get it. So,
what would you have done for the heat? Would have been like,
I don't know. Yeah, I would need to go and browse a little bit. There was a little kick to it. I like a lot of kick. And when Michelle's out of town, I got the opportunity to spice things up in the kitchen. She's not a big she's not. You can't give her the peppers and stuff. You know, like she'll freak out. Her forehead will start sweating. I feel bad for her. So I wanted to do that, but I didn't have enough. I was snowed in, but it was solid.
What do y'all?
I give it a B.
When you fix yourself a bowl of chili, are you crackers? Are you rice? Or are you Fritos? Or are you kind of a bunch? Or like what do you got going?
I mean, I saw some people throw Fritos in there. I hadn't thought about that in a while. I used to do that all the time, and it was really good. Just like whatever cracker I have, I'm not really too picky about it. I had some wheat thins in the cupboard last night, and those are pretty good actually.
Interesting. Yeah, I've always had I've always done the Fritos because I think at least my dad always called it a Frito pie to do that. But yeah, it's this very processical thing. I just made that word up. But you basically have to put the melt. You put the Fritos down first, then you put the shredded cheese, and then you put the chili on top of it all. And so that way melts it, stirs it, gets a good kick, and then I'm all about that.
I go rice, Fritos, or saltines, either one, and then just the chili, and then a ridiculous amount of shredded cheese, just mixed.
A lot of cheese, a lot of cheese.
Yeah, you cannot have enough cheese. So the question is, what kind of cheese, guys? I mean, there's a bunch of different cheeses out there.
I don't care. I don't know. I mean, like a little sharp cheddar here and there, but I like the what's the one I'm looking for? I guess it's like Monterey Jack, the little mix.
Yeah, Colby Jack, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm usually a cheddar guy with chili at least.
No, I'm the same way. Extra sharp. No, I'm just kidding. Like we don't have to. It does not matter the type of sharpness to the cheddar. I still don't know what really that means, but
I don't guess I do either. But
I've never tasted a difference between mild and sharp cheddar. Like it's all kind of cheddar's cheddar.
Somebody's gonna know. This is a passionate chat here, so somebody's gonna be able to give us that answer.
Nuts with the food.
You're asking us questions. We're asking you questions. So,
so we should just do like a full-fledged segment every day for 30 minutes talking about food. Because everybody loves food, so everybody would enjoy it.
Everyone does eat it. That is true.
That's true. Eli says, is it possible that the basketball team is still trying to gel with lack of consistency while still showing signs of being a good team, or is this a repeat of last year and this is how college sports are?
I would say it is absolutely possible that the basketball team is still trying to gel and that they lack consistency, but I don't know that they're showing signs of being a good team. And I think that's what's concerning me right now. They are behind, man, that 100%. Just injuries to different people, it's impacted their ability to be where they need to be at this point. Like they're behind the other teams out there, but they were showing signs of being a good team the entire month of December. Like as they were, starting to put some things together, you could see the vision, I guess. Right now, I can't. I mean, they were very uncompetitive against Tennessee, a big-time dud at home against Ole Miss, and just some fundamental things when it comes to closing out basketball games that were lacking there, and it starts with some effort and energy. So I definitely agree on the first part. I hope that worst-case scenario, I agree with all of that after this game on Saturday, where it's like, hey, they're still not quite there yet, but it was at least a step in the right direction, because what we've seen the last couple of games is a step in the complete wrong direction out of them, in my opinion, at least.
Also, again, we said we'd answer anything. Shargansall wants to know, is it true if you don't use it, you lose it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's science.
I think it's true. Yeah.
We wouldn't know. You're asking the wrong guys.
Totally.
These are users up here, man.
Dalton wants to know, have y'all ever had 4x4 chili?
What is that?
Guess I don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
I'm going to Google it. That's always risky.
4x4 chili.
It sounds good. I mean, if you got a name like that. Because what was the chili that you said Kingsley told you about, Curtis? What was it called?
Oh, damn it. I don't remember what it's called now.
It's like over the top chili.
Over the top, maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Something like that.
And that's a process. It looks really good. I have no idea what 4x4 chili is.
And did your research not yield anything either?
Just a bunch of random stuff. Like there's nothing consistent here.
Yeah. Hey, if you're going to throw some in, okay. So Dalton says a combo of 4 kinds of meats, beans, or cheese. Holy crap. Yeah.
I don't need all that. I really don't like, I'm sure it's good, but just give me the normal stuff.
I would like to mess with that.
I would.
I do like to use multiple varieties of beans per chili.
What are the 4 kinds of meat? You got like ground beef, like sausage, like what, like
Yeah, for sure. Some people do a chicken chili.
Yeah, I've done chicken chili before.
Yeah,
I don't think I
I
have.
making a white chicken chili is my favorite. It's hard to screw up though, so it's like not a
Possum, deer, squirrel, and beef. That's what
There we go.
David says for his 4.
I've had deer chili.
It
I
is
like
good.
deer chili.
I've
Man.
had
Yeah.
deer chili a lot. I had it a couple weeks ago. Yeah. I guess I just like, I've never had chili and been like, I need different kinds of meat in here added
Yeah.
onto it.
Oh, brisket. Kingsley has
Yeah. I
Chuck
look at
roast
it. I look at it as
yeah.
I was like I love pepperoni pizza, but if it's a meat lover's pizza, I like it more. You know, I
Right.
guess that's what I kind of like look at it.
This
too.
has my interest. I mean,
I like how like we're getting like 9 different types of meat being thrown at us.
yeah. Wow.
All right. Woo, woo. All right. Let's see. Ryan, okay, I'm just going to answer because you keep blowing it up. He's like, can we get Reagan on campus to do interviews with students to poll current moral and or lack of attendance issues? Sure, I'll ask her. And if she does it, great. We'll let you know and we'll post it. But I will pass the message along. Let's see. Fits for me. He says, fellas, why does the U of A have a problem with y'all? At least that's how it feels from the outside perspective. Well, they just do, or if it's it depends on what part of the U of A you're referring to.
Yeah, I don't like.
It looks different that gets left out in the cold.
I don't think the U of A necessarily has a problem with us. There's just that's a long story.
Yeah, that would take at least another 3-hour stream that we could talk about. But yeah, it's an interesting relationship. We'll say that and leave it at that. Nick just wanted us to
say we've been, because we like we did say we would answer any question.
Yeah, we did. That's why I brought it up.
It's been an uphill battle to get all the things that we need to succeed and to have that relationship where it needs to be post Natty State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that go into that, but like it's it's a process that we're working on, and like we're seeing progress. Like there are certain things that are required from it, but like, hey, I'm in the building at Bud Walton every game now. You know what I mean? And so it's just it takes a little bit of time, and it's frustrating, but we're working on it. So
yeah, and I mean the also the post Natty State thing is why I like understand part of it, but also it's just going to be different because the U of A is typically, when you're talking about media that they credential, it's usually the same suspects, it's the same outlets, it's the same hierarchy, it's the same, like, oh, you've got the father company, you've got they're all kind of under the same umbrella. There's not really a bunch of different outlets that are kind of in our situation that are new, and so it's just a little bit of a like we're playing by a different set of rules than other outlets that have been, in the same umbrella for decades. And so it's just kind of a different thing.
Yeah. It's like we're having to go on a marathon of a walk, but we're the only ones that's having to wear a weighted vest type of thing. It's just like we're going the direction to where we're still able to do what we do to a certain extent. But yeah, there's just a lot of obstacles and a lot of things that are getting put on us that other people don't have. And so it becomes a little bit frustrating. So that's the main thing.
If you weren't doing a really good job, or, something that people were taking notice of, you wouldn't be challenged in the way that we are. So I think it's, in a way, it's a little bit of a silver lining and a good sign, and we'll be all right. It's not as easy as people think to start up something new like this and to hit the ground running. So we don't talk about it enough. Like, I know we were talking about like our viewer milestones and everything we have from the past year, but considering some of the obstacles, I'm even more proud of what we've been able to do so far. And it's only up from here. We're all right.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I feel great about the direction everything's going, and man, and just, they always say imitation's the greatest form of flattery. And you can tell I think we've done some things to make people change a little bit of their behaviors in some capacity when it comes to their content. So it's a compliment. It's a compliment. Nick just wants us to know that the sheriff's office is picking him up from work today. Let me have a snow day. Damn.
That's tough.
That is tough. That is really tough.
Yeah. So are they? I hope they're picking you up for work, or they're picking you up for other reasons. But
Yeah, like wait, you work? I'm guessing he works. At the sheriff's
Yeah,
office?
bro.
or is he using the sheriff's as an Uber? Like which one is it?
Are you
Hey,
good?
dude? I remember
Are
when I
we
was a
your
freshman
one
in
phone
high
call?
school, the first day of official baseball practice, we had a kid get dropped off by a state trooper because he had gotten in trouble for some stupid. I can't even remember what he did, but I'll never forget that. So maybe it's that kind of situation.
Speaking of letting people have snow days, I'm not gonna give out the company because I want to throw them under the bus. But I shared this with y'all yesterday. My little brother,
That was a tough email.
he works 4/10s, like that's his schedule every week, and so then his scheduled off day every week is Friday, and he just got an email yesterday that said, and it was a company wide email, but it was like, if your scheduled off day is Friday, that is now canceled, and that's like the end.
That's
So he had to
crazy.
take his ass to work.
Yeah. I just love the fact that in those particular emails, a lot of times you'll see corporate be like, for those of you who may have had those days off, we would really encourage you to, or if you come in, we'll have this as far as we'll give you 2 days off next at a later date. It's like, it's canceled. Get to work. Just straight up. Not even all right, we're sorry this is going on. Just straight up, no, it's canceled. Get to work. Love that. Also, too, with the snow outside, I wanted to bring this up. I went to the gym this morning, and I live close by to it, so it's not like I was, just going out braving the elements for that. But there's just so many people that makes. I'm not perfect because accidents happen, but man, there's so many people out there that do not need to be driving in this, and vehicles that don't need to be driving in this. And there were people all over the roads, and it's scary stuff. And not just for those people in those vehicles, but for other people too who are driving. So, folks, if you don't have to get out. Or, I can understand if you got to make a run right next to wherever, but geez, just be careful out there as much as possible. It's a lot of snow and it's going to stay cold. And even tonight, when it gets below freezing, it's going to get even more frozen. And so if you're going to be trying to go to the game tomorrow too, also be very careful.
Yeah,
make that happen.
Seriously, that's a really good point. And I mean, I live a mile away from Bud Walton Arena. I'm not leaving my house until 1:30 tomorrow when it's time to go to the game. But yeah, it's crazy out there, man. And I kind of live on a little bit of a hill, or at least it's an incline as you're getting out of the neighborhood. And I've just been hearing people spin out and slipping and sliding all day long. And it's right outside my my office here, so it's like, yeah, I ain't going nowhere, man.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, I hope that I don't have any reason to leave the house for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, were y'all sledders as kids when snow happened? Was that your big snow activity?
Oh yeah, with like a cardboard box or something. Yeah.
Dude, I think I had one of those plastic sleds. I think you get from like Walmart.
Yeah, trash can lid.
Yeah, stuff like that. But I remember one kid had like one of the like old school in our neighborhood, the one from like the 1920s sled that was like metal rails and a wooden like top and everything. It's a lot of stuff. But yeah, sledding was always a great thing.
I never really did it. So it also didn't really snow a ton in central Louisiana when I was growing up. I can only think of maybe a couple like definitive snow days. My parents were texting me this morning because they were hoping to get snow and didn't get it. They just got rain, but they've got like a golf cart and they've got a couple of my nieces live there and they were planning on having this awesome day where they'd get the golf cart, tie a little rope to it or whatever and take people on rides. And they were disappointed they didn't get snow. So sorry, RIP, or not RIP, but sorry to the folks in Monroe that did not get snow. Just got cold rain.
Yeah. Is this good snowman snow, or I don't know how that works.
So.
I have not been out since it started snowing. I have not been out of the house. I haven't even taken trash out. I'm just like looking at it.
The only thing I've done is I was going out like once an hour last night while it was happening to just keep a clear pathway shoveled for the wiener dog to get out and do his business. He get buried in this stuff, man. So had to take care of him. But yeah, I haven't really thought about it. I used to love doing a little snowman action or snowball fights. You know, like those are always a great time if you got enough to actually build a fort or whatever. And you know, some good time.
Yeah, in college, roommates of mine, they did a snow margaritas. If you can ever imagine that.
That's gross. That's gross.
It's pretty great, actually. You know, it's cold. It's cold water. That's all it is. You know.
Yeah,
totally
but it's on
fine.
the ground. It's coming from the
dirt.
dirt.
But you get it from the top. You know, you don't scrape to the very bottom. You know, there's sure it's totally fine.
When I was in college, we had some dorm mates who wound up getting, I think it was like 6 hours or something of community service because they made a huge snow wiener with like a vane and everything. And it was like 6 feet tall and it was right out in front of the dorm. And they actually got in trouble.
They got
for
community
it. I thought it was
service.
funny. Yep. They got 6 hours community service.
Does anybody know what the little like statue outside of the football stadium, the little pig statue that's got all the hogs and stuff, because it's got water and stuff, like what does it look like frozen?
Oh, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Yeah. I feel like somebody surely
Curtis, if
take
you
a
get
picture.
out, check it out tomorrow.
Check it
whenever
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we remember when they put a bunch of like laundry detergent in that or like
Yes.
whatever it was? And
Bubbles.
yeah,
It was like
bubbles.
dish,
Is that what it was?
where
Yeah.
it was like it was just bubbling like crazy.
Yeah. It's just like, and then I think a kid got either arrested or something like that when he jumped into the fountain, and like, and when it was cold outside, and then ran away. And they're like, "We're looking for this kid." And I was like, "Okay, like just like did anything really happen? Just chill out." So, but yeah, a lot of snow activities, but be safe out there, everybody. Especially you with those big trucks that just think that, oh, I got America, and just flying 48 miles an hour down a 20-mile-an-hour like road in the snow. Just relax. Okay. So, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here?
No, not really. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. I know some people were probably snowed in or whatever and needing a fix. So we appreciate that. And, you know, to echo what John said, if you're trying to come down here for the basketball game, tomorrow, I definitely encourage it because we've been trying to encourage fans in that building, but be careful. Check the forecast, check the road reports and all that before you do that, because I know it's like worse in Central Arkansas than it is here. And I think it was, at least over in my neck of the woods, we got more snow and stuff than I think maybe was in the forecast. So
yeah, stay safe, stay humble, stay hungry. Bombastic at 2:30 once again. And tomorrow, after the Arkansas basketball game happens, Austin Bashi by submission is the play for the UFC's return to action tomorrow night. So everybody keep that in mind. Have a great weekend. Stay warm.
Yeah. And that's all I got too. So that works out. But appreciate each and every one of you listening and watching in. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube channel, as well as on our social media at Inside Arkansas. But we also have our podcasts in audio form, wherever podcasts are found. You can download for Inside Arkansas Live, as well as Pod at the Palace, as well as the Bombastic Podcast, all the great content we do here at Inside Arkansas. And of course, you can check out our website at InsideArkansas.com for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information on all things Razorbacks. So, for Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel next Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you then.